because I've been working on the stream for quite a while, the last couple weeks. All right, there we go. All right, well, good morning. Welcome to episode 26 of the Film Planet podcast. I'm your host, Nadal.
And the other host, Jamal.
And today we're going to be breaking down a couple movies, but for the most part, it's going to be something we've talked about in the past is our action movie special. So we'll go ahead and get started. What was the movies that we wanted to kind of review, get out of the way first before we that'll segue into what we want to talk about?
Mission Impossible, Fallout. I mean, it's nothing else to say other than, I mean, you really can't really review it. Like, the best way to review the movie is greatest action movie, one of the greatest action movies of all time, and best blockbuster of the summer.
Yeah.
I mean, since Infinity War got moved up to April, this is probably the best blockbuster of the summer. So.
Oh, yeah. It by far. It was fun. It had basically a chase scene in there that was probably one of Tom Cruise's greatest chase scenes. Just fun to watch. Trying to figure out how anyone can run for that fast, that long.
And be that old.
Because,
I mean, Usain can.
Yeah, but considering, he was jumping on roofs and climbing upstairs. Like,
I mean, he was like Jackie Chan back in the Gap. Speaking of action stars.
Yeah, that's another legend right there. But no, I mean, I enjoyed the movie. It was on my top 10 most anticipated. I'm a big fan of Tom Cruise. I don't care what anyone really says about him. But his movies are fun. They make money. Some of them. The Mummy didn't. But it's...
Mommy got a bad rap. Bad
rap. I enjoyed it. I mean, there wasn't really a lot that was wrong with it, in my opinion. Did you feel
for an action movie? No.
Yeah.
I mean, action movies, you don't expect, thespian acting or, you expect, a plot that drives the action, and it did it perfectly.
Yeah.
So
it
served its purpose.
It's an example of a movie that it simply executed well. So it's because there's not a lot of movies that do that now. They have really great concepts, but are never really executed, and I think people sometimes lose sight of that. That execution on a good idea is better than a good idea with no execution.
Yeah, it served its purpose.
Yeah. So, and I mean, really, and then we have Mile 22.
Mile 22.
Yeah, that was I want to say disappointment, but wasn't much to it. It was just kind of. It makes you scared of the government and what power they have is really what it... that's what I came out of it.
The problem with that movie is it could have been so much more if they just stuck to the action. But they would have these segue scenes, like intermissions. It was almost like a video game.
Yeah.
I know he always has the video game references, but it almost like a video game. You had your intermission points.
Yeah.
While it's loading, almost a cutscene while it's loading, and Mark Wahlberg talking. Then it gets back to the action in the story. It even played like a first player shooter in some scenes. It was almost like a video game on the big screen, for better and for worse. I think it hurt. I think the action was cool because they kind of had that first person where you can really feel it up close and personal.
Yeah.
But I think it slogged the story down. And it was a cool twist, but when I watched the twist, I was like, this could have been so much better if the movie just flowed better. And Mark Wahlberg's supposed to have some type of disorder because he was genius, but geniuses are kind of weird.
Yeah.
Most geniuses are kind of weird.
He wasn't weird, he was just kind of a dick.
Great example, little Richard he's a musical genius, and look, he's kind of weird.
Yeah.
So he got annoying. Like, it's times where he got annoying. Like, I know
he never turned it off, even in stressful situations.
But I understand he was supposed to be that way, but it was still kind of annoying.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But I mean, I liked it overall, but it wasn't. It was. I don't even want to say it was meh. It was good.
Yeah,
it was all right.
It was solid.
Yeah. I mean, if you're into like military type movies, stuff like that,
special forces,
Navy SEAL, then definitely go watch that.
Overwatch, Black Ops type.
You'll 100% like it. One thing I didn't really enjoy about the movie is the fact that some of them couldn't really fight, considering they're supposed to be like this secret.
Oh yeah,
yeah. But they had like no fighting ability if they didn't have a gun in their hand. That's just a little nitpick. That's not really a big deal. But yeah, I mean, it's another movie. I wouldn't really worry about watching it in the theater. I would definitely say like Redbox.
Yeah, definitely a Redbox.
Like if you have like a cable, like an on-demand service, like through DirecTV or whatever it is, and watch it that way. With that being said, man, let's jump into what we've probably been anticipating to talk about. It's not really a review. It's just kind of a rundown of the action movies, the resurgence that they are coming back. Mile 22,
Mission Impossible,
the last couple Mission Impossible,
The Rock. Just you don't even say The Rock's movies. Rock,
The Rock's making them come back. So there's a lot to talk about on that forefront. So let's kind of just jump into like where do you think Hollywood's going? Because I think your and I opinions are probably going to be the same on this one.
I think they're trying to bring action movies back because Hollywood always likes to jump on something before, it always likes to jump on Hollywood like has a tendency to cycle itself before something else gets played out, because I think they know that comic book movies have peaked. Like comic book movies have peaked. Like, I'm not saying they're going to just completely fall off. At this point, they'll be a Hollywood staple, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They peaked. You're not going to get the same reaction to a Black Panther, a Wonder Woman, an Avengers Infinity War, the first Iron Man, the Dark Knight. You're not going to get the same reaction with these movies coming out. Will they make money? Yes, but they won't be like a cultural, like when Avengers came out, it was a cultural.
Oh yeah,
it wasn't just a blockbuster movie. It was like it changed the scope of Hollywood and people's perception.
Yeah.
On like comic books. I mean, comic books used to be more of a subculture for guys who collected comic books, even the movies. After the Avengers, it kind of boosted it into, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah. It's kind of just, I don't even know how to, I know what you mean, like, I don't know how to word it, but yeah, I get what you're saying. To the mainstream, yeah.
I mean, that comic books always been mainstream, but I'm talking about, like, Ant-Man. Like, if it wasn't for the success of Avengers, people checking for Ant-Man, casual everyday people.
Nah, they wouldn't really bother with it. I mean, another else to kind of not add to, not really, it's not adding it to the forefront, but to kind of put into perspective, what you're seeing in comic book movies now is what you kind of saw in the 80s for action movies. They were getting turned out like, that's what came out.
Like candy.
Like, it came out. Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee at the time. Well, he wasn't 80s.
Nah,
more like
Bruce
70s.
Lee was 70, 60.
Well, yeah,
I don't even consider Bruce Lee action. We'll get into that later.
But like Jet Li is a good example. He was especially popular in the 90s because he had this like more over the top action. Like he was bringing like that Chinese cinematography to the American audience, like with The One and all that, where it's very over the top, and that's something you didn't see a lot in the American audience action movies, because you saw it was your Lethal Weapons, things like that were very grounded.
I mean, Rambo, not the first Blood, that was real grounded, but afterwards, that gave pretty over the top. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. It introduced
taking around terrorist groups with a bow and arrow.
Well, yeah, but it action movies got out of hand in a good way. Like it was
no, they didn't. I think that's what kind of shut them down.
I liked it.
I very cheesy, but I can see. So what I'm trying to say is, I think Hollywood is realizing, like, okay, comic book movies, they done peaked. They're still gonna be popular for the next 3 years, like highly popular. But I think after what I'm saying is, after this Avengers and Wonder Woman 2, I just see a slow projection downward.
Yeah, slow downslide from there. But I mean, I like the return of action movies. I think we've hit on it a couple times here on the podcast that is something that we look very much forward to. We love a good action movie. They're just fun to watch, and in some cases, just turn your brain off and enjoy for a little bit.
I like the adrenaline that action movies bring if they're executed right.
If they're executed well. Like, which if you're kind of your heart's beating and you like 9 times out of 10, the good guy's always going to win in a movie. And if an action movie really has you believing that the good guy might not win, it's a really, that means they've done their job.
It's the adrenaline of them. Like the kills, it's cool to watch the kills.
Yeah.
You know, I don't condone violence by any means, but you know, that's the one thing about action. It's the escapism of action movies is what I like.
Yeah. It's another thing I'll use. It's an older movie. I don't remember when it came out. I want to say it was the 90s. At least here in the US, it might have come out earlier. If you don't know anything about Jackie Chan, a lot of his movies weren't done in English. He's gone back and dubbed over a lot of them.
Rumble in the Bronx.
Rumble in the Bronx. Like, a lot of that stuff was actually done in Chinese.
First Strike.
And then 15 years later, he goes back, once he became like this megastar, and dubbed a lot of his movies. But Operation Condor, if you haven't seen it, I don't even know where you can find it.
Speaks the truth.
But Operation Condor, this isn't really a spoiler because the movie is like 30 years old, so I don't even care about the spoilers at this point. But there's a scene in that movie where they're fighting in like a missile silo, and it's probably one of the most genius fight scenes I've ever seen in an action movie, where they're testing like the wind resistance of missiles and airplanes, and they're turning on the wind, and Jackie Chan is fighting off 4 different dudes while flying around in this missile silo. And it's the most amazing thing. Like, he uses wind resistance to make his punches stronger, and like telling the people upstairs when to flip.
And Jackie Chan will choreograph a lot so I mean,
you gotta understand, when Jackie Chan's on a movie, it's his stunt team. It's not another stunt team.
Right.
It's him and his stunt team.
So leading into that, what would you say you threw in Operation Condor? Since we're talking about action movies, what would you say are the 5? We're not going to say the best because everybody always says the best ever, blah, blah, blah.
Just kind of in our opinion?
No, not even our opinion. What would be we'll say the Mount Rushmore action movies.
Mount Rushmore?
Not necessarily the best as far as quality. I'm just talking about like staples.
That's hard.
Is it really? I don't think it's that hard.
Can we say franchises?
Nah, I don't really think it's that hard.
I feel like, well, I mean, I'm just gonna, because there's not really saying we're the best. I'm just gonna kind of use my opinion as a measuring tool. I'd put, I was gonna say Operation Condor, but no, like a Drunken Master.
See, it's action, but I don't really consider I look at martial art movies as their own sub-genre
of action.
Yeah, I don't really look at them as pure. They are. I guess you could throw that. Okay, Drunken Master.
I would say because a lot of the way they've done things is still done. Like, because that movie has a lot of action in it.
Because Raid is an action movie with martial arts. To me, those are pure martial arts films. But that's how my brain goes. But it's action. So go ahead.
I would say Drunken Master, Raid, the first one specifically. Because I feel like that was probably...
That's the best modern action movie.
Yeah, that one definitely...
Ever, to me.
That was out of the other ones that executed,
in the last 10 years, the best.
Raid, Lethal Weapon. The first Lethal Weapon's amazing. It was downhill after that one, but the first one was really, really good.
I wouldn't say downhill. It just wasn't...
It stayed stagnant, and then it never improved.
But they were all pretty good.
Lethal Weapon... Man, this is tough for me because there's a lot I want to say but at the same time I don't feel like they would qualify. But that's really all I got right now.
I mean, those are your favorite?
For me, yeah. Those are things that like it doesn't really. I can always go. When I say favorite is I can watch it no matter when it's on, and I can watch it.
Well, when I think of Mount Rushmore, I don't necessarily think of best in terms like, to me, the Raid is better than 98% of the action movies out there, but I wouldn't put it as a Mount Rushmore action film because it just didn't necessarily have the impact. If I had to put a Mount Rushmore action movies, I would put Die Hard, Terminator 2. I would say Lethal Weapon, and man, I'm going back and forth between like First Blood and, like you said, Rumble in the Bronx. I'm going back and forth between those two. I'm going back and forth between First Blood and Rumble in the Bronx. Because to me, Jackie Chan is the second greatest action star all time.
Who's the
Schwarzenegger. Schwarzenegger's the first.
Okay.
But
who's the great? Just quick segue. Who's the greatest martial artist in movies of all time?
Martial artist.
Because I think people say Bruce Lee, but I think people say Bruce Lee based off nostalgia. I don't think there's a lot of people who's Jackie Chan. Because I think a lot of people say Bruce Lee haven't actually seen his movies. They just know it's Bruce Lee. You get what I'm saying?
I think here's my issue with Bruce. I think Bruce Lee, the legend of Bruce Lee, is
greater than Bruce Lee.
Greater than his. It's almost like the Chuck Norris jokes on the t-shirts. And,
yeah.
Chuck Norris once, blah, 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 and a blah, blah, blah. That's how I look at Bruce Lee. Like, to me, his movies, outside of Enter the Dragon, were cool. They weren't great. Did they have some great moments like Fist of Fury, where he was fighting them all in the warehouse? That scene, but leading up to that scene, that movie was boring.
Something I would say
that Bruce movie Lee was boring leading up to that scene, bro.
And I think this is a little known fact. If you go back, I want to say it was Enter the Dragon. When Jackie Chan first got into Hollywood, he was part of Bruce Lee's stunt team. There's a scene where Bruce Lee kicked somebody through a door. That is Jackie Chan.
And he accidentally hit him for real.
Yeah. If you actually looked at it, I think you can find it on YouTube. It's like a little documentary. It's like martial arts legends, and they're talking about Bruce Lee, and that's when that's their opportunity to segue into what Jackie Chan is. Bruce Lee popularized that martial arts action movie in America. Jackie Chan made it what it is today.
Even today, it ain't really that popular anymore. But I see what you're saying.
If Jackie Chan's in it, people will go watch. Bruce Lee opened the door. Jackie Chan stepped through the door. But to me, I would agree with you. Jackie Chan for me is the greatest martial arts artist in Hollywood. I think for a long time there's a debate between him and Jet Li. I don't even think they come close.
Jet Li is not close. You can only say Chan and Bruce, and Jet Li's toward the bottom.
Yeah,
but I mean Jet Li's right under them. But
Jet
Li and Chuck Norris, they're like right under.
Yeah, but Jackie Chan just his bot like
and Chuck Norris, he's kind of. I'm not gonna say overrated because he is one of the greatest action. I mean Walker Texas Ranger.
Yeah,
but. To me, his movies were kind of overrated. I know one of our acquaintances, Blake, would kill us, but I always thought Chuck Norris, his movies.
Chuck Norris is a good old boy.
yeah, but I thought his movies would be kind of over.
But yeah, no, I agree. I like what Jackie Chan's did. I mean, I know we keep talking about Jackie Chan.
Well, keep talking about Jackie Chan. Don't do that.
But I don't think you can't do it without talking about action movies.
It is. I mean, we gotta talk about.
He's synonymous.
But we gotta talk about Stallone and Schwarzenegger, man.
Yeah, but
Schwarzenegger, in my opinion, he's not my personal favorite. Like my personal favorite action star is Jackie Chan and Wesley Snipes. Those are my two. Those are my two personal favorites, but. If we say all time, we say all time great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Schwarzenegger. I mean, he made action movies like cool. Like, he really did. Like, I mean, he was like molded for action movies. The one-liners, his physique. His accent, like he was molded for action,
head to toe.
So I would have to say
Arnie all the way. Yep.
Yeah, I would have to say Schwarzenegger. But back to the pinnacle. I mean, you didn't have Terminator 2 or Die Hard.
Well, it's not that I just honestly you put me on the spot with it, and that's the three I could come up with at the time.
I mean, to me, though,
because I would put now that you say Die Hard, I would definitely put Die Hard up there.
So you think Die Hard the greatest action movie ever? Like
ever?
A lot of people say.
No. I also don't think it's a Christmas movie like a lot of people say.
Yeah.
Which the writer and Bruce Willis both put that to rest.
But that's here or there.
I'm just saying for the internet so you guys know. But no, I mean, outside of the Rushmore, I mean, let's talk more about, like Conan and, like those, what Arnie, his body of work, what he kind of, because that's what I want to talk about is not just the action movies, but those actors that made it made it even better than what they were.
Well, the reason I say Arnold Schwarzenegger is the greatest because, I mean, his body of work in the 80s and 90s. True Lies. Yeah. Like the guys, yeah, like he said, his body of work in the 80s and 90s is like, I mean,
second to none.
Second to none. Yeah. Predator, The Running Man, The Terminator 1 and 2, which Terminator 2, in my opinion, I know a lot of people are diehard, but in my opinion, Terminator 2 Judgment Day is the greatest action movie ever. And I believe it's James Cameron's best movie. A lot of people say his best movie is Aliens or Avatar. I think it's Terminator 2 Judgment Day. I mean, that movie is like a roller coaster ride from beginning to end. You know, it never slows down. It
doesn't.
Even in the spots, even in the more emotional moments, it's very they intense. Still on the run. They still on the run. Yeah. So,
and it still has one of our favorite scenes of all time in a movie. That's not even really an action scene, where he's dying. He's dying in the that literally. There's videos on YouTube where it just loops for 20 minutes, and of him just breathing. It's just funny. That's to me. That's if you could take away something like that from a movie and it lives on and on like that.
To me,
that means a lot. Yeah,
and it hasn't aged poorly. I mean, of course, some of the VFX kind of, but
the VFX has, the story itself has it,
and the action hasn't aged poorly.
It's a good movie. I mean, with that being said, I mean these two actors I'm about to say had kind of a war against one another. Is Stallone.
So, for a while it was Stallone and Schwarzenegger. Chuck Norris was kind of in the back, in the rear.
Well, Chuck Norris was towards the end when they were kind of blowing up, in my opinion.
No, Chuck Norris was in the mix with them.
But he was doing more TV shows, a lot less movies.
No, that was later on. I'm talking about in all their peak, Chuck Norris is kind of like the bronze medal.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like Stallone, and then we'll go back. Stallone had Cobra, First Blood, Demolition Man, Wesley. And that's something I want to bring up. Because of Wesley's tax problems and jail time, he don't get the credit he deserves.
It'd be a lot different now.
He doesn't get the credit he deserves, like the Jackie Chans, the Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Chuck Norris gets.
Passenger 57,
The Art of War.
Yeah.
I mean, Blade.
Blade alone.
The dude made a comic book movie successful in a time where nobody was peeping out comic book movies unless you were a comic book fan. Like me, I collect comic books as a kid.
There's people who don't realize Blade is a comic book.
Well, now they know.
They know, but at the time, there's people didn't even know.
But Wesley, but Blade was a hit. It was an R-rated hit too. Like,
it was an R-rated action. I remember people saying like Logan was like the first R-rated comic book movie, and I'm sitting here like, nah, there was
Wesley cracked the code early.
There was 3 other ones before that.
and people talking about Black Panther. I mean, give Wesley some love, dude.
Yeah, man. He deserves a lot more respect than that man gets, even though he was doing tax evasion.
Always, and he had famous one-liners too.
Oh yeah.
Always bet on black.
Always bet on black. Even Blade had a couple of good zingers in there too.
Yeah. It's always motherfuckers trying to skate, ice skate uphill.
Yeah, man.
So
was it Passenger 57 where he jumps out of it's the skydiving one.
Yeah.
That's Passenger 57? Yeah. That's, if you haven't seen that I know for a fact is on Hulu or Netflix. Please check that out. That movie is a great example of just something like over the top, but it's just good. It's just good to watch it. And the cool thing about it is it's a movie that actually had people jumping out of planes and recording it. Another thing that Tom Cruise gets credit for in the last Fallout movie.
Yeah, we're talking about. Well, we got to put Mission Impossible as far as franchises. Now, I think Fallout might be one of the greatest action movies.
Oh, it's just if you haven't
Fallout
seen
and The Raid.
Like, I'm sure because you're in here, I'll talk to you about it, man. If you haven't seen Fallout, my friend, go see it. It was something that it was just, like it had you sweating. Just once
it was a thrill ride.
Once it started, it did not stop. Literally until the credits rolled.
It was a thrill ride.
It did not stop. That was an example of a movie that. Well, never mind, because that's kind of spoiler, so I'm not even going to, because this is a newer movie. But it was a good movie. I mean, we could talk about the other Mission Impossible movies that Not all of them are the greatest, but some of them.
But you know what I like about the Mission Impossible movies? They up the ante with every movie.
Oh yeah, they top themselves.
They top themselves every movie.
Yep.
Usually in a franchise that long, it kind of becomes stagnant. James Bond. James Bond. But this one, it ups the ante.
Oh yeah, no, it's
and then you got to throw in the Bourne franchise. I'm not a big fan of the Bourne franchise, but you got to throw it in there.
Oh yeah, it's up there. But that's another movie. It kind of got a little bit stagnant. Like this last one,
I don't think it got stagnant. I think it ran its course.
This one's well. I mean, is that the same thing though?
Nah, because I think the third one, the Bourne Ultimatum, is the best one of the bunch.
Yeah, because the last one I didn't care for too.
It was unnecessary.
Yeah,
I mean, there's no such thing as a necessary movie, but I'm saying for the story where they went with the Bourne Ultimatum.
Yeah, well, that was the beginning and middle and end right there. The fourth one wasn't really needed.
Like, what are they doing? I mean, it had its moments, but I'm like,
because the biggest issue was that it came back 10 years after the last one, and it's just like, what's he been doing for? Why is he back after 10 years now? You know what I mean? Like, what? Because he was so busy with trying to get done with everything. Why is he back? But that's besides the point.
Yeah, we don't want to rail off into.
Yeah, but it's. I mean, there's a lot of good action movies. The great thing about action movies is you can have an action movie and then you can slap another genre on it, and 9 times out of 10, they'll mesh well together.
Yeah.
I don't think they have an action horror movie. That has to be. Oh yeah, they do on Netflix.
Blade.
Well, yeah, Blade. But you can. That one is just Spawn, but Blade is an example of like that has action
Spawn
in it.
I mean, for its time, I enjoyed it, but I look back like
Spawn was just like I don't know what happened. That's what I think. But no, let's talk about Tom Cruise, not just Mission Impossible, but
Tom Cruise. I mean, we're talking about Mount Rushmore action stars.
Yeah, he's definitely.
I forgot. Cruise.
Well, we're talking about movies, not action, not stars.
Yes. Well, if we're gonna do stars, Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Cruise, and like I say, I flip flop with Jackie Chan. To me, and then Wesley Snipes is right out the box.
He's there, yeah.
Cruise. I mean, here's the scary thing about Cruise over all of them. He's getting better.
He's not getting worse, and I think that's what people hate him. Hey, thanks for the follow, man. Appreciate that.
He's getting better.
Oh yeah, no, Cruise is I think people hate that he's getting better.
I mean his action movies, I mean, you have
they're just fun.
End of Tomorrow. What was it called? Live, Die, Repeat. It changes.
It literally changed his name after the movie came out.
Yeah, Live, Die, Repeat. The Mission Impossible franchise. Like I said, I thought The Mummy got a bad rap, pun intended.
The Mummy, if anything, was a good action movie. The story was meh, but
I mean, Last Samurai. It was good,
but
how I feel.
I get you, but I like that movie.
But Tom Cruise, I mean, he's definitely in that Mount Rushmore.
Oh yeah, Mount Rushmore, and then
sells. I think Tom Cruise and Jackie Chan,
they sell it the best.
They sell they sell action better than rest
anybody else. Speaking about selling action, this isn't selling a fight scene. You mentioned it while we were watching Mile 22. I can't remember the actor's name. He's the main character in the Raid movies.
Iko Ukas.
That guy.
I know how to spell his name, but I don't know how to pronounce it.
It's a whole nother mission. Yeah. But he made a comment while there's a scene you see it in the trailer, so it's not super spoiler, but where he's fighting in like a hospital room, and you were like, nobody sells slobber knock brawls better than this dude.
Nah, he sells them.
Like, this dude he's winning the fight, but then at the same time he's like not winning the fight, and just I am convinced that man is actually hitting those people. That's how much he sells those connections, and like him, because usually if he's on a movie, he's doing they're usually the stunt coordinators on those films, and if you ever watch The Raid, you will have a hard time convincing yourself those people aren't actually getting hurt.
Yeah,
they look like they're physically in pain.
But speaking of The Raid, we're gonna segue. Like, he brought up Iko Ukas. I'm gonna get his name right, but we got to talk about modern day. Like, we kind of being nostalgic, but I mean, if we're talking about modern day, The Rock is starting to. I mean,
not even starting.
He's moving up that ladder. Like,
he's knee deep in it at this point.
Yeah, I mean, his run is getting on the level of Schwarzenegger's. Like, I mean,
oh yeah,
the Scorpion King. The Rundown.
I don't care what anyone says about that movie.
The Rundown, Scorpion King. Would you consider Walking Tall action movie?
Yeah, I would.
Okay,
I would.
Walking Tall, part of the Fast.
Because Walking Tall and Rundown came out at the same time.
He kind of gave the Fast and Furious franchise him and Statham, another one. A Joe to Electricity. So
yeah, because let's be, as much as we like Fast and Furious, like, as you know, general audience loves that franchise. It was kind of done.
Yeah, it was sloping, and then once they brought The Rock and Statham,
it shot right up.
It shot back up.
It's not an accident that those two characters are getting their own spin-off movie that's coming out before the next Fast and the Furious movie. So it's
Vin Diesel.
Yeah, Vin Diesel's another great example. Triple X,
Pitch Black.
I'm gonna say Ice Cube because he doesn't do it anymore.
No.
But no, I like Triple X State of the Union.
Hell no.
It was so good.
Ice Cube is not an action
The scene where they had all the tricked out cars beating up tanks.
Stop. Ice Cube, I enjoyed the movie for what it was, but Ice Cube's not an action star, and that's no disrespect to the legend, but nah. It's so
Mila Djokovic.
Oh,
from Resident Evil?
The ladies, yeah.
From Resident Evil?
To me, she's the action movie queen right now. They're trying to make Rousey, but I haven't been impressed.
Rousey can't act. That's the problem.
Yeah, I haven't seen her and been impressed.
And when she is in a movie, she don't really talk.
But right now, you got to say Mila, because of The Fifth Element.
Resident Evil's a big, yeah.
I know people like to bash the Resident Evil franchise.
$1 billion franchise.
I think those movies... the Resident Evil movies did something that a lot of people don't give it credit for. It kept pure action movies relevant.
Yeah.
It really did.
It's also
we know the Resident Evil franchise video game is not really action, but they turned those movies into action movies.
Well, even the video games started becoming more action as the movies became more and more successful. The video games are going away from it now. But Van Damme, that's actually a great example. Van Damme's another one.
Oh, Van Damme is a legend.
The Bloodsport? Oh, man.
Van Damme used to be on my Mount Rushmore, but the problem with Van Damme was everybody else, they fell off gradually. I mean, it was kind of like time ran.
Oh, he got pushed off a cliff.
Yeah, everybody else, time just ran its course.
He got pushed off a cliff.
He literally fell off.
He plummeted. Something happened. Like there's like a hit out.
I mean, because dude went from kickboxing, like y'all say, Bloodsport.
Bloodsport is
one of the great action movies of the 80s.
Martial arts movies too.
Yeah. Like Bloodsport.
Just even the story behind it, that he was basically like this orphan training with this family.
Universal Soldier.
Dolph
Lundgren, another one.
Oh, you know what killed his career? He did the Street Fighter movie.
Nah, because even after Street Fighter...
Well, Jackie Chan's in the Street Fighter movie, so I take that back.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is. He plays one of the, a random villain.
Oh, yeah, he did for a little bit. Then Raul Julia. They got the dude from the Addams Family to play Bison. Enough said.
Yeah. So, Street Fighter's a weird thing. Just
you got a Spaniard to play somebody from Thailand.
Another good action movie I actually just watched it last night again, was 13th Warrior. With
Antonio Banderas. He's an underrated action star.
He's another underrated action star.
I mean, you have the Mask of Zorro movies, which were both good.
Comic book movie, wasn't it? Isn't Mask of Zorro a comic book movie?
Folklore.
Well, I thought, wasn't there a comic book about it? I could have swore that I might be mistaken. I'm just...
Yeah, but it's more folklore.
Okay. No, I was just asking.
I mean...
But yeah, no, he's a... I love...
Desperado.
Man.
Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
My favorite Johnny Depp ever. Yeah. I love him in that movie.
Yeah, no, Van Damme for sure. Like, I remember, like, as a kid, because my dad when my dad first moved to this country, like, he's from Lebanon originally. When he fell in love with movies, all he watched was action movies. I mean, when I was younger, I think TNT was the only channel ever on.
TNT and TBS, for guys who like movies.
Yeah, that was literally, and then he just found out the El Rey network is a thing, so all he watches is that now, which is basically TNT. But we used to watch Van Damme movies like every other day.
Okay, best Van Damme movie.
For me, Bloodsport.
Bloodsport.
Yeah, for me, that's easy. I can say that.
Yeah, I would say Kickboxer was pretty good too, but I would say Bloodsport.
Yeah.
Action star, he did lay his mark, but I can't stand him. Steven Seagal. I mean, if we're gonna bring up action stars, we gotta talk
about him.
What I didn't like about Seagal is
his attitude.
No, not his attitude.
The way he ran.
My issue with Seagal, he brought that before Seagal got popular, because for a while Seagal was the man. He jumped over all of them for a brief period. He really did, because he came off more. They were always more rugged, chiseled. He came off more like the smooth criminal, the ponytail. He ain't really.
Oh yeah.
He ain't really buff.
Too cool for school.
He made it cool for douchebags who ain't really like in shape and can't fight. Make it cool to make them feel badass. So for a while, he looked like the every guy. Every guy douche that can fight. So for a while he jumped. But my problem with Seagal, he brought a sense of invincibility to action movies. Like, remember, before Seagal, like, they would take they were the baddest man on the planet, but they would take their dings. First Blood, he would take his dings. Schwarzenegger was getting his ass whooped by the Predator. I mean, they would take their dings. Yeah. Man, after Seagal, it just seemed like these cats became invincible. Yeah. Action stars just could.
Oh yeah.
Because he would never get hit.
Well, it's
Seagal would never, no, for real.
And thank God that Hollywood's going away from that now, because if you look
Seagal would never get hit.
Yeah, like Mila Jovovich.
To me, he was the fall of action movies.
Yeah, like Mila Jovovich, The Rock, the guy from The Raid. I'm not going to try his name. They, like you said, he sells this slobber knock. Like, they get hit. They might not win this fight. Even like The Tower with The Rock. There's a couple like, there's no way he making that.
Yeah,
and he was getting. There was a couple. He got beat a couple
Rock
different
would
times.
Take his dings in the rundown. He was getting his butt kicked.
Well, that's what I'm saying though. But Hollywood is starting like, okay, that was a mistake.
I don't think it was a mistake. I just think the popularity of Seagal, Hollywood tends to go to the hot trend.
Yeah,
and at the time, I mean, when Seagal came out, I mean, he jumped over all of them, bro. Like quickly. He really did. Time to Kill.
But just as quick as he came up, he fell just as quick too. He fell just as
first
quick.
Off, he was an arrogant jerk.
Oh yeah, the dude's not a good person in general.
And then, I mean, his fighting style in real life would probably whoop all the other ones' fighting style. But what that got to do with making a movie, dog?
Yeah,
like,
it's the reason.
And he wasn't a good actor even for an action movie level. He wasn't a good actor. Go back and watch those movies.
They're really they're not even a good cheesy. It's just weird to watch. But it's, I mean. He's not really, because I don't think he makes movies anymore. The guy from the One Back Warrior,
Tony Jaa.
He's
up there too.
He's up there. His movies are really, really good. That's another example.
A lot of people like to put Michael Jai White up there. Nah, I like Blood and Bone. I liked Spawn as a kid. Now watching now, like, ooh, this is bad.
Yeah, but he's not.
Nah, he's not.
He wasn't consistent enough with it.
He's not consistent.
He just he showed up in spurts and then he just disappeared.
Yeah, he's not consistent enough.
Another good one is, if you haven't seen, it's Ip Man, Donnie Yen.
Donnie Yen.
It's not the Ip Man movie, but the actual
Donnie
actor
Yen
himself.
Is definitely.
He does another.
To
movie.
me, if you're talking about martial artists, he's like that step below.
And he's one of the few martial artists in Hollywood that. He doesn't do the same fighting style in every movie. He will literally switch up his fighting style depending on the movie he's in.
Yeah.
There's a movie. I think it's like a China only movie. You can get it on Netflix or Hulu, but it's like Detective ID or something like that. It's a very weird name because I think it just translates weird. But he does like this. He does like a boxing style, but he's always like knee high. Like, he doesn't ever stand up and fight. He's just kind of like he fights low to the ground. It's interesting. He's not even the main character in it. It's just when his movies are always good. He sells action extremely well, because his action is very brutal and quick, whereas like Jackie Chan is almost an element of comedy in there with his action. He's using things around him. Theatrics. It's almost like he's not fighting. If you watch Jackie Chan movies, he's never really hitting anybody. He's
almost like he's constantly escaping.
He's constantly escaping and blocking attacks.
But he loves to go back to Jackie Chan.
I do, man. I can't help it.
But let's he brought up a good point. Like, let's go back to Mila and women.
Yeah.
You got to put Sigourney Weaver up there.
Oh yeah. Oh, 100%.
You could actually put Sigourney Weaver. Some people would debate you could put Sigourney Weaver in that Mount Rushmore. This is no shade. I'm not sexist, but the reason I can't put her up there in that Mount Rushmore is because outside of the Alien franchise, in most of the action roles she was in, she was more the boss figure. She wasn't out there kind of doing the work. Even in Avatar, which is kind of action based, she was kind of like a boss. She wasn't
the mother figure almost.
Yeah, she wasn't out there doing the work. Even in the Iron Fist TV series, she was a lead villain, but she wasn't out there like actually doing the fighting.
Yeah.
You have to put Zoe Saldana.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Colombiana, Star Trek. Guardians.
Yeah,
she does a lot of act. She does a lot of the fighting hand to hand combat in the Guardian movies. But I think Mila's the queen.
Mila, no, she's definitely the queen. And I don't think she gets a lot of.
Sigourney is the pioneer, but Mila's the queen.
Yeah, and I don't think Mila gets enough credit though. That's my problem.
Hell no,
she doesn't get enough
credit.
Dog,
she kept. This is what I tell people: say what you want about the Resident Evil movies, good, bad, or nothing. She kept a mainstream action franchise relevant when there wasn't any. There wasn't any. For a while, The Rock tried drama. Let's not forget, he was doing movies like Gridiron Gang. He even went back to wrestling for a little bit because his Hollywood movie
career wasn't taking off.
It wasn't necessarily was taking off. He was trying to balance both.
Yeah.
So he kind of went back into the wrestling because it's what he knows. Yeah. Then one day he full-fledged was like, I'm going to be an actor.
It's probably his agent was like, dude, jump into this.
Yeah, you're going to, more longevity and just focus. So for a while, I mean, Mila was the only, because even Statham went to, he was obscure because he had the transporters and he just disappeared.
He just disappeared, yeah.
It was Mila keeping that action platform in the mainstream, not DVDs because they constantly spitting them out, but in the mainstream.
Well, yeah, she kept it relevant to the point where Hollywood's like, well, she made sure that The Rock was able to get
now
the funding
look how many action movies have women. Jennifer Garner's coming out with one called Peppermint.
I want to go see that. That looks really good.
Zoe Saldana Columbia. To me, that was Mila. Like she kept that alive.
Even Mila had a more recent one.
You got to put Angelina Jolie in there too.
Oh yeah, with Salt and all that.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Yeah, she was doing her thing for a while.
Mila, she came up with a movie. I can't remember. It has Pierce Brosnan in it. Where she works like the FBI or the CIA.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
so it takes place in Paris. That's a really good one where she's a star in that one. That's not Resident Evil, but it kind of breaks the mold of what she's been in before. It's still an action movie, full fledged. But no, you're right. She kept it alive when those movies simply weren't coming out.
So, what you think? Who's the greatest action movie character? McClane or T-100?
Man,
Ethan Hunt.
Ethan Hunt. Only because he, like you said, you made a good defense. It gets better and better every time. And Ethan Hunt gets better and better every time.
Yeah, but would you put Ethan Hunt over McClane?
That's hard. That's hard.
T-100.
Like you're wrong if you say both. If you say one or the other, you're wrong and you're right if you say one or the other.
I don't know
because I'm trying to think of what do they have in comparison, and what's the one thing that one of them has that puts them over the top, and I can't really.
I mean, you James Bond.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones.
We didn't even talk about Indiana Jones.
Harrison Ford. How can we forget? Harrison Ford.
Yeah. Let's before we begin, let's talk about that man. Like that he made every little boy want to go out and be an adventurer.
Harrison Ford in Indiana Jones. Here's what Harrison Ford did for action movies. Harrison Ford made the everyman could be an action star.
Oh yeah,
that's what he did. He made the everyday dude could be an action star. Because let's be real. Most action movies back in the 80s and 90s was superhero movies before superhero movies blew up. Mm-hmm. Rambo was a superhero. The T-100 was a superhero.
They had some type of special forces.
Indiana Jones kind of segue into John McClane. I think they gave Harrison Ford and Bruce Willis, they like the everyman in action movies.
Oh yeah.
The Fugitive, you know, that was an action.
The Fugitive is. If you want to talk about an everyman kind of action movie thriller, The Fugitive is your go-to.
You know, the President of the United States was kicking butt. Air Force One. That was Harrison Ford. And it worked. If I would have heard somebody say the President of the United States fighting, trash. But he sold it, you know.
Oh, yeah, he 100% sold it. It's Harrison Ford. Like, I remember watching Indiana Jones for the first time as a kid, and I was just like, and then I realized there's other ones, and I was like, let's keep watching them. Dude, I still watch them to this day. Like, I watch one, I end up sitting there watching all three. I skipped the Crystal Skull, but
yeah, but
it's I mean, Harrison Ford's Harrison Ford, and dude's amazing. Like, he sells action. There's a reason why people love him so much as Han Solo. It's not necessarily. I might be speaking out of turn. It might not just be the Han character. It's Harrison Ford himself.
Yeah, it is.
He is that character. It's not the other way around where there's a lot of people that are the actors become their characters. It's like Indiana Jones becomes Harrison Ford in a way. He's
well, he won in Indiana Jones. That's his baby.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But like it's the Harrison Ford's impact on movies from that everyman standpoint. Now that you say that, Harrison Ford's the greatest action star of all time for me.
Nah.
For me.
It's Schwarzenegger still. Harrison Ford is, like I said, he made it cool for the everyman that could be an action star. Yeah. But I always look at, like, I always debate I love these type of debates, the greatest movie or the greatest. I always like to look at the entire landscape.
Oh, yeah.
I like to look at movie sales as a star, because I know people gonna be like, he was in Star Wars, rah, rah, rah. Yeah, but Star Wars, even though he's the second most popular character in that franchise, there's a lot of moving elements that make Star Wars what it is beyond Han Solo. Yeah. I'm just talking about as an action star. I don't think nobody purely carried the genre like Schwarzenegger. Like, you could, like, look how long it took us to bring up Harrison Ford, even though he's a great action star. Yeah. You can't bring up action movies without Schwarzenegger. He's the first one come to mind. Action, Schwarzenegger.
Like Amster said, Arnie all the way.
I mean, he's the GOAT. He's not even my top 10 personal favorite action stars. Yeah. But I mean, he has my favorite one, Terminator 2, but I mean, unbiasedly, he's the greatest.
Yeah, and this can be real quick. Let's talk a little bit more about directors and what they've done, because I think that's something that's kind of overlooked.
Action movie directors are very overlooked.
And I can't remember it now. It's slipping my mind. He's remaking one of his movies right now.
John Woo.
John Woo is coming out. I mean, that man. A lot of the cool stuff that people see. The Wachowskis, yeah. Like, a lot of stuff that you see in movies right now, like specifically in the slow motion area, is... Go ahead. No, say it. No, finish it.
Dude! Another underrated action star. Keanu Reeves.
Oh my God, yeah. He's the nicest one of them all.
Keanu, the John Wick franchise, The Matrix, Speed.
Man of Tai Chi, if you haven't seen that, it's a very underrated little action
Constantine, which was pretty cool. I mean, yeah, Keanu done made his mark too.
Yeah, I like Keanu.
But we're talking about directors, which I do like. That's my favorite thing about cinema, the directing. I feel like John Woo, he's like the godfather of modern action movies.
Yeah.
Not overall. To me, the way dude choreographed the action, he opened the door for like The Matrix. A lot of the action we see today is because of John Woo.
Oh yeah, it's like that's what I'm saying. A lot of the stuff that that's popular now is John Woo was a result of what John Woo did at some point in time. Morris Minor, no to what, but it's
no to John Woo.
I think we said Keanu, so I'm assuming that there's a delay, so I don't know when he actually.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a lot of, like, I mean, I want to say Steven Spielberg, but that's kind of less.
Steven Spielberg.
That's like an easy. I'm talking about specific for like Indiana.
Nah, that ain't what made Steven Spielberg.
Well, no, I'm not saying that's what made him. I'm just saying
wouldn't even put him in that list.
He definitely contributed to it.
No, he didn't.
You don't think he did?
I don't put Steven Spielberg in that list.
Okay.
He's a great director. He can make everything look good.
Yeah.
But when we're saying action directors like pinnacle, I put John Woo. I put the guy who did the Mission Impossible, Christopher McQuarrie.
Mm-hmm.
I put guys like you even have to put Stallone in there. He's an action director. He's a director.
Oh yeah. Well, The Expendables. Didn't he direct those movies?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
and he pretty much picked the director on one of them, but he was basically directing that movie. I mean,
the producer directing a movie.
Yeah. He was basically he just had somebody behind the camera saying, "I want you to shoot it like this." He was a director of that movie.
Jackie Chan, he's directed a couple movies.
Yeah, but I think John Woo, McQuarrie, it's enough.
Pure directors, people that aren't directing because they got so big that
I think somebody else I'm forgetting. The Wachowskis.
Yeah.
I think the way they revolutionize action is...
Oh, yeah. Just, it's...
What's his name? Donner with the Lethal Weapon. The buddy cop. The buddy flick. I mean, you got to understand, he kind of trailblazed the path with that. You had 48 Hours. What did we have recently that was... everybody thought it Hitman's Bodyguard. I'm surprised we don't see more. Well, I take that back. It's been a lot of buddy cop action.
No, there's a lot, and the TV shows do it now on a regular basis.
Kevin Hart trash. There hasn't been one as good as Lethal Weapon.
No.
48 Hours came close.
48 Hours came close, but if you look at what's 48 Hours and Lethal Weapon have in common, it's one guy's not serious, one guy is. I think,
well, a lot of them like that too, like Wahlberg and Will Ferrell. The night.
I know what you're talking about, yeah, but that was an alright movie.
No, the Keanu Reeves good films only. Oh man, Speed is a classic action movie.
Speed is a classic.
Both John Wicks are good.
The Matrix,
that's 4 right there.
Yeah. John Wick. I mean,
I'm not saying
his body work might not be as big as the others.
I agree with you. I'm not saying he's just the top of the line.
Oh yeah, no.
But
he's definitely in that conversation.
Like, his movie. I give him about 4 good ones.
He was part of a franchise that made action movies. Everyone looked at him differently after that.
Oh, The Matrix.
Matrix. So
the first one in it, yeah.
So, but yeah, I wouldn't say no to Keanu Reeves like that. Yeah, I have to disagree with you on that one.
He's got a great actor.
Well, we got to remember, we're not talking about just the acting aspect. We're just talking about the
mark he laid on the action movie
on the genre itself. Yeah, that's purely what that is. So he's okay if you don't talk.
right. Yeah, you're right. That's why John Wick is so effective. He barely talks.
He don't really talk. He just fights.
I agree.
But that's what we're talking about. Like that, if you can still invest in an action movie and the person's not really talking, it says a lot about what the director's doing and what's going on around him. Another thing about action movies, usually the supporting cast is really, really good, but they're usually not as big as, well, in some movies. I guess Mission Impossible is probably a good example.
The best example.
The best example of that. But yeah, I mean, John Woo, I'm trying to think of other directors that made a big mark. Not just they make action movies, but James Cameron, yeah. What's his name? Directed The Raid.
Gareth
Edwards.
No, Edwards. Is it Edwards or Evans?
Gareth Evans or Gareth Edwards.
Because one of them did Rogue One and the other one did the Raid movies.
That's correct. Yeah, that's where I get confused.
I think he's Evans. Evans did the Raid movies.
Yeah. The confusion is, I think, because Rogue One used the Raid stunt coordinators.
No, Force Awakens did.
Force Awakens did. Sorry, that's where my connection in my brain is. But no, like you said, he made the greatest modern action movie of all.
If y'all haven't seen the Raid movies, for real,
start with the first one.
The Raid movies.
I think the Raid is on Hulu or Netflix.
Unparalleled.
Or no, it's on Stars on Demand. Like if you have like Stars, you can stream it. I would watch that. The Raid is brutal. It's quick. It's if you've ever seen the most recent Dread movie, it's basically that, just without the sci-fi elements.
Yeah. That's a recent good action movie. Yeah, that didn't get enough credit.
Well, it didn't make enough money. It was really good.
The Dread with Keith Urban.
That didn't make enough money, so they didn't make another one.
The Dread with Keith Urban was very good.
Yeah.
And I remember I went to a dollar movie. I had a bad day at work. And I said, man, I'm going to just go to a dollar movie and get my mind off of it. So I didn't expect nothing. And I walked out that movie like, oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
That movie was good. That movie was really good. I mean, Chad, what was some of your guys' favorite action movies? Anything that for you, just no matter what everyone's opinion is, just that stands out for you? Because, I mean, I think you and I, like...
I mean, we done exhausted ours. Do y'all have any action movies that, we didn't ramble on about? That...
Or even if we did ramble on about it, still say it. So,
Because, I mean, I didn't bring up True Lies earlier. That's an excellent one.
Amster brought that up, yeah, for sure. True Lies
is definitely good.
It's... Man, Arnold, I don't know, man. I manage it. All his movies are fun to watch.
Yeah.
And then
Kindergarten Cop,
even Twins. I remember Twins.
Yeah, but that ain't action. Well, subject.
What I'm saying is, because I'm going to segue into Stallone here, is in Twins, there's a poster of Stallone that they show Arnold kind of looking at and laughing at. And it's just funny because even now in their newer movies, they kind of play on the one where he breaks out of prisons.
Yeah.
Arnold is in it right at the end. So it's funny.
Escape Plan was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I ain't going to say it was great, but Total Recall, yes.
Total Recall, Running Man, okay.
Total Recall, I love Total Recall. Running Man, I'm a youngin'. I'm not youngin', but for when the Running Man came out, I was probably a baby, so
yeah.
Running Man doesn't resonate with me, but when I watched it, it was okay.
Yeah.
But Total Recall, I loved.
Total Recall is the new one. What do you think about the new one?
I liked both.
Yeah, I like the new one.
I like both for different reasons.
Yeah, but it's because they almost did feel like different.
Oh! He brought up the new Total Recall. We're talking about action. How can we not bring up Kate Beckinsale in the Underworld movies?
Oh, I feel bad for bringing it up this late. Yeah, no, for sure. She's up there, 100%. Because that's another example of an action movie that was coming out when nothing else was coming out.
Yeah,
and it's still popular. Even when the new one came out, everyone was very excited about the new one coming out.
Now it done fell off.
It fell off, yeah.
But when she came out, yes, Underworld, absolutely.
It's like Demolition Man.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's really good.
Yeah, that's one. Yeah,
that's really, really good. And then it's Demolition Man is the one with Wesley
Snipes.
Yeah, where they time travel. Well, it's not time traveling. They get froze. But yeah,
cryogenically froze.
Nick Cage had a couple. At one point, Nick Cage was like he had a
Face Off.
Oh man, Face Off.
Face Off. That's probably, if we're gonna say best '90s action movies, Face Off is up there.
Oh, Face Off is really good. It's also really creepy too at the same time.
Oh yeah,
because it kind of showed like Nick Cage's super weird side, because there are scenes where when he was still the bad guy.
Con Air was cheesy fun.
Con Air is really good. Ooh, I love Con Air, man.
It was the '90s. Yeah, they was churning them out.
Oh yeah, it was. There was a time like we said at the beginning of the podcast, was just like you have your superhero movies now coming out. Those movies in the '80s and '90s, they were every single, like there were 6, 7, 8 of them a year. They just kept coming out and they did not stop. I think Lethal Weapon got up to 4 or 5 movies, right?
4,
and now it has a TV show. So, but I haven't seen that TV show, so I don't know if it's good.
I don't think they should have touched it, but okay.
Well, it's just they don't want to invest the money to make the movie.
Well, it ain't.
But they don't want.
Mel Gibson went crazy, and Danny Glover's ancient. You really can't make another Lethal Weapon.
Danny Glover could do it. No, he couldn't. I'm just joking. Have you ever seen the movies Badass with him and Danny Trejo? He can't do it anymore. Man, there's a lot of good movies that.
I mean, I think for a while they took some chances with Danny Trejo with the Mexploitation flick. What was that called?
Machete.
But Machete didn't really pop. I liked the first one, but that second one, Machete Kills.
Yeah, because it was like a kind of a spinoff of what's those one of those Grindhouse movies?
Grindhouse, yeah.
When he was in it, and it just
Grindhouse was cool too.
Yeah.
Which one? I like Death Proof. I like both of them.
Well, I liked them all, but yeah, it was kind of a spinoff of that. Another one well, can we say it? I can't remember his name now. I'm missing his name. Dusk Till Dawn director. I'm not saying Dusk Till Dawn is that. I guess it's kind of action horror, but
Tarantino.
Mm-hmm.
I don't look at Tarantino as an action director.
Well, yeah. Top director. Well, yeah, he's definitely a top director, 100%. Yeah, no doubt.
Oh yeah, he's definitely.
But he's kind of like
definitely Hall of Fame director.
Oh yeah, but no, I wouldn't say. Now I'm saying out loud, I would say pure, like from a pure action movie standpoint, his movies have action elements in them, but they're drama thrillers kind of.
Yeah, it's more with Tarantino. What he does great is the dialogue.
Oh yeah, that's why his scripts are like 200 pages sometimes. I heard his scripts are very big compared to other directors.
Yeah, that's his. If we just saying action outside of John Woo sells well, I mean that's really about Zack Snyder. Say what you want. Say what you want about Zack Snyder as far as the writing. Say what you want about the direction of his movies, but action.
He shoots an action scene like it's no.
The man shoots an action scene no better. I mean, go to 300. I mean,
all of 300 from beginning to end is amazing.
A lot of the action in Wonder Woman, that was him.
Yeah.
Even in the Justice, as horrible as not Justice League. Justice League was an abomination, but it's horrible. I ain't gonna even say horrible. It's disappointing because I don't think Batman vs Superman is as bad as people make it.
Yeah.
But as disappointing as Batman vs Superman was, the action scenes with Batman.
Oh yeah, they were fun,
bruh. That was Batman. Christopher Nolan, who's my favorite director, his movies were better, but when Zack Snyder had Ben Affleck fighting, it
was brutal.
That was Batman. Like, that's the Batman I envisioned from the comic books and the TV show in the 90s.
Yeah.
That was the Batman I envisioned kicking butt. Like, Christian Bale was kind of stiff. Michael Keaton was kind of kooky with Tim Burton.
Yeah.
This guy felt intimidating. Like Ben Affleck,
felt like if he hit you, you weren't going to feel very good.
And that's a testament to Zack Snyder. Yeah. Say what you want about his other direction, but Watchmen.
He knows how to make sure
Sucker Punch. He can sell some.
He knows how to make an
George Miller
connect.
There George Miller, another George Miller with the Mad Max. He can sell action. Now my mind is clicking.
George Miller made an action movie about a chase scene,
and it worked.
In the last Mad Max,
and it worked. And I'm not a big fan of that movie, but it worked.
And it worked. He literally made a chase scene.
George Miller's definitely up there,
and it's a chase scene in the desert, so there's no fear of running into anything. That's just how it was executed well. There's a lot to talk about. We're most definitely probably missing things. 100% missing some things. But I mean, is there anything you wanted to add? Because we kind of went a little bit longer. This is special though, but so it didn't really matter.
There's so many great action movies and action stars, but I'm gonna just sum it up. For me, I'm gonna say the Mount Rushmore is Jackie Chan, Tom Cruise, Schwarzenegger, Stallone.
Edgar Wright. I wouldn't call him an action film director. He's
good at it.
He can execute it when he wants to, but that's definitely not his bread and butter. Because you look at Shaun of the Dead, that's not really action. Because the Cornetto trilogy,
action element.
Hot Fuzz was definitely an action flick. But that was kind of his love letter to action movies in a way.
Buddy Cop.
Yeah, because he talked about Miami, Speed. Not Miami. I'm sorry, Bad Boys. My bad. Bad Boys, Speed. Those are referenced heavily in the movie.
Too. Michael Bay. He brought up action. I mean, The Rock. Bad Boys.
Sorry, not the actor.
Bad Boys, the first Transformers, to me was a good action movie. After that, it went to shit. But I mean, Justin Lin, Fast and Furious. This is for a topic for another day. But Baby Driver was it was good.
Yeah. Oh man, it was really good.
Yes. We're saying you're right. We're not saying he can't sell action, but that's not.
He's definitely not an action director. He's
not even necessarily an action director. That ain't when people think of Edgar Wright, that ain't.
Yeah. That's not the first thought that comes in mind. Is him. It's because he's definitely he's really good.
Snyder and
Yeah, they're synonymous. We talked about Steven Scott. I think it was before you got here. We talked about him.
We said he was his rise
as quickly as he rose is just as quickly as he fell
with Steven Seagal.
Yeah, he rose quick and fell quick. But yeah, Baby Driver was one of my personal favorites. I love that movie.
It's so many action stars.
There's just so many. Yeah.
Gerard Butler, Gladiator, Russell Crowe.
Oh, oof.
It's so many, but I don't consider Gladiator action movie. I don't. I consider it.
That's just a good movie.
I kind of consider it an epic drama.
Yeah.
I don't. Now 300 is definitely an action movie.
300 from beginning to end. That's a good example. Like that's what I was saying about earlier about Zack Snyder. He just knew how to make. Because an action movie.
Sucker Punch 2 was a good action movie.
Liam Neeson, yeah. In recent years, he's been
as far as modern goes. The Rock, and Liam Neeson as far as modern.
Oh yeah,
they're 1 and 2. I agree with you.
Liam Neeson is definitely
Rock, Liam Neeson, and Mila are modern day.
Modern day Mount Rushmore is those three up there for sure.
Yeah.
There's so many, man. There's a lot.
I think the Taken movies I wasn't a big fan like other people but
that first one when it came out
now was the Gray was very good.
I still want to know what happened at the end.
But what's the recent one we saw this year with Liam Neeson? It's like it's time to give it up. It had the Conjuring people in it. It had the actor and actress from The Conjuring who play Ed and Lorraine. Oh, what was the name of that movie?
It was basically Taken, but
no, he was on a train.
I know what you're talking about, but it was basically Taken on a train. That's all it was.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about, though. I know what you're talking about.
But Liam, yeah, you're right. It was
time. Yeah,
the commuter.
The commuter. Exactly. That's what it was.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Thank you. No, that was. Yeah, that was. I watched that. And it was like, yep, it's over.
Yeah,
it's done.
When they had to edit him jumping, and I'm
like, when they had to edit him jumping, I was like, yep, it's done. He's like 70 something. He can't do that.
And anymore. I'm not even talking about a big jump. It's just
from train cart to train cart. So like we're talking. You didn't even need to jump. It was literally a step. You could make it. But it is.
He made his mark.
He definitely deserves every little ounce of respect he gets. He earned his way into it because he wasn't always an action star leading up to that. He just kind of rebranded himself at an age that Nonstop. Yeah, he's right. Nonstop was the same thing, but on a plane.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but no, he's just. He was 60 something when he started doing Taken, and everyone was like Liam Neeson and Take wow, can he do this? And then it worked, and then Hollywood's like, okay, let's just make a bunch more of these, and they did.
That'll be an interesting topic for another day. Who reinvented themselves?
Yeah, we talked about Van Damme.
Because he went from dramatic actor and reinvented himself to action star.
Yeah, that might be a new subject, like another podcast special where we talk about actors that have reinvented themselves. In their careers, like they were almost done, and because I think just to real quick, kind of the guy who's going to be one of the top of that list is probably Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah,
because we're not going to get into it, but
he turned himself to a dramatic actor to a blockbuster.
Man, that man, flipped it on its head, especially from
Sherlock Holmes and Iron Man. Yeah,
but yeah, no man, there's a lot of action movies. I'm sure we missed some. Morris, Amster, and everyone else that's in the chat, I definitely appreciate you guys stopping by.
Tune in more, man.
Tune in more. We try to do it every Saturday or Sunday.
We'll be consistent, but capitalism and jobs.
Yeah, so we have, life happens to us sometimes, and we know we're not. This isn't our living, so sometimes it gets kind of put to the back burner. But please stop by more. Amster, hit that follow button. So if you don't mind, hit the follow button. Let that way when we're live. But. That's today's podcast. We'll upload it later on YouTube. There should be a link for YouTube down below.
And now that I see where the people just tell us
your ideas, like what you feel like we should add.
That's what we'll talk about.
Oh yeah.
So have a good one, man. Yeah. So
peace.